on YouTube. So that's basically what's happening here. Our download is complete. And so we're going to press play. We're going to press play. Oh my, we're on. Making myself comfy. Legal disclaimer. How we use your personal information. The Paradox Interactive Privacy Policy. Summary of the latest updates. April 8th, 2019. This summary is the most significant updates, but we encourage you to read the whole policy to understand, which I'm not going to do now for you here. Summary. Person with different purposes. Basically, they can copy and use and then disavow any knowledge. And so, do they really think anybody reads through this? How many of you guys actually read through this? You know, it'll be like a boring day that you sit around actually reading through this. Is my chat room disable? PlayPayBox on YouTube, fellows. PlayPayBox on YouTube and Twitch. And on Twitch. Okay, Robert, thank you for tuning in, and I will await your phone call. No problem. Although I didn't look at what he was writing when he wrote it. So, okay. So in any case, how many people actually read these terms of services? What would be interesting also is if the court of law actually will uphold these terms of services when no one really reads it. I mean, it protects them. Well, we had it there. I mean, it's not our fault that they didn't read it. So I guess that's the purpose of it. But the problem with this is that the gaming genre, the nature of gaming and those who play games, they won't have the patience to sit and read all through this. I think it's kind of dishonest, really. And if the legal field would hold a gamer, and make it cause them to lose a case or a claim based on, well, it was written there, you didn't read it. I think that's so unfair and unjust, really. And I'm not a gamer. I frankly, I tell you the truth. I don't spend my days playing games. Matter of fact, the only reason I'm playing these games now is because I'm in the business of developing a game. This is simple. That's it. But in terms of, so again, I'm an educator and I'm a psychotherapist. I understand the mind. I understand cognitive and behavior and abilities and that which is intuitive, things that are familiar and or coincide with certain perceptions in certain cognitive areas. And in gaming, I've been observing gamers though almost all my life, and I know they don't sit there and read through all of this. So for the court of law, I think it's not just, because if we are going to be judged by a jury of our peers, if that's a thing, that the law recognizes a need to be judged by peers, then also by the same degree these terms of services and all of that have to be taken with a grain of salt in terms of the law against, especially when it goes against a gamer, because the nature of the gamer and their behavioral reality and experiences are not conducive to be reading lengthy terms of service and privacy notices and stuff like that. So that's my only complaint really about a lot of these games and softwares where they have basically a small pamphlet of material, if not a small book, of things that you need to read and then agree to. We are going to play a game. Who's going to stop now to read? It's like ridiculous and it's unfair. It's unjust. That's what I'm saying. It is. No matter what English says. I know the lawyers will say that, well, it has to be there, has to be there to protect the company and this and that. But like I said, the company's playing with fire, and so when you play with fire, you know what the saying goes. You know how it goes when you're playing with fire. So yeah, that's the way I look at it. Okay, now two. So what do we do here? Open. It's the legal disclaimer. And so you guys are seeing this with me. What happens? Click return to the game. Okay, so it's kind of with all this ghosting happening, it's kind of difficult to see that. So I agree to number one of two. Read our terms of use. So again, I will go through just so you can see the length of these terms of use. The grant of licenses and restrictions. So I'm sure we're going to have these same things in our game that we're developing. The service may be used by you only for your personal non-commercial use in accordance with these terms of use. Unless otherwise explicitly stated herein, nothing contained in these terms of use shall be construed as conferring by implication or otherwise any license or right to use any trademark, patent, design right, copyright, or other intellectual property rights or paradox. You are granted a personal, limited, non-transferable, non-exclusive license to access the service. Non-exclusive license means that other people can play. Basic English. I guess I can give you some basic English. You are granted a personal, that means you have everything related to your person, your personal expression, usage, enjoyment. It includes sharing and sharing in terms of your reviews and your feedback and things like what I'm doing now. I'm sharing a personal interaction with the game. That's all involved in personal. It's limited and it's non-transferable, right? And non-exclusive, meaning everyone else or the many other people who have the same license to access the service, provided that you do not and do not facilitate any third party to, again, that means giving it out to someone else to try to make this game, reproduce it, or make a better game based on the coding of this game and whatnot. Disrupt or assist in disruption of any game and or service servers or any other use of game and game experience. Use, develop, distribute, or sell cheats, automation software, bots, hacks, or other unauthorized third parties. So, in other words, you cannot build another software modifying this one or manipulating this game in any way. Exploit the game, the services, or any of its parts for any commercial purpose other than as permitted under the EULA, including without limitation use of a cyber cafe, computer, gaming center, or any other location-based site for gathering additional services, including in-game currency, items, or resources for sale outside the game, and or performing in-game services in exchange for permanent payment outside the game, power leveling. Including without limitation use as a cyber. Remove, disable, or circumvent any security protections such as digital rights. Use any obscene, pornographic, provocative, or racist language or material in the game or on the communication facilities as defined below. In other words, using the game to promote racist speech or attitudes or things like of that nature. The grant of this limited license conditional upon your agreement to and compliance with all terms of use. Paradox may suspend or deactivate your account at any time for any or no reason, with or without notice to you. Unauthorized, or because some people will get so seriously devastated that they cannot play this city skyline game that they will actually go to court over that, So, hey, listen, we can cut you off of this planet, this digital reality at any time without notice. Unauthorized or prohibited use of the service of the kind may be violation of criminal or civil law. Paradox reserves the right to add, modify, delete any and all functionalities of the service at any time. Paradox makes no representation or warranty as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided to you through the use of the service. Nor do we represent or warranty any of the service will be available and error-free at all times. Because, of course, you paid money. There's certain expectations when you pay money in terms of the software. So they're trying to make sure you understand, hey, it may not work for you, and so, but that doesn't constitute any fault of ours. Communication facilities, post advertisements to sell goods or services. I guess in the communication facility, you may communicate with other users of service and players of the games. You agree only to use the communication facilities to post, receive, or send messages in connection with the game. This is, of course, within the game's communicative network, right? We're not talking about, like, right now we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, we're all over the world broadcasting this right now. It doesn't mean that, and we have other communication facilities outside this game. So those are okay. We can use that in any way that we can use it according to the terms of services of those third-party whatnots. But the game's communication cannot be used for these types of other types of communications. Impersonate any real person, including without limitation an agent of Paradox, otherwise communicate, and blah blah blah, and all their things. Engage in trolling, which is all you guys are guilty out here on Twitch. All the Twitch, I got a whole bunch of troll messages on Twitch. So I don't know who's policing Twitch. I'm sure if I started doing things against the rules, I would be suspended and banned. But no one does anything about the trolls. The trolls it's like free open country for the trolls. That's also an injustice. So why don't they go after these trolls with stupid comments? But I guess, that's this they're having fun and enjoyment of the system. I guess that's within their right, but I'm sure Twitch has an anti-trolling policy. I'm sure of it. Pretty sure. Anyway, engage in spamming, double posting, cross posting, and resurrecting old posts. Hack any communication facility or exploit any bugs. Insane. Upload files that contain software, other material protected, additional rules, connection, communication, blah, blah, blah. Like they're going to read that or they can understand that. Okay, additional services, whatever they have. Exploiting defects. Oh, you're exploiting a defect. Okay. user generated content, which is basically what we're doing now. People on Twitch are doing user generated content. Maybe. We'll read this and we'll see for sure. But what we're doing now, and what most broadcasters do that are in the gaming, that broadcast their games, are usually engaged in what's called user generated content. So we'll see. We'll see what they refer that to. You may be provided with an opportunity to create and submit content through the game service or the site, user generated content, or UGC. So this again, it says very specifically that you may be provided with the opportunity to create and submit content through the game service. Now, this may also include Steam, which what we're on now. We're also broadcasting on Steam, by the way. It should be. I don't know. I haven't verified it, but maybe. User-generated content must not infringe any copyright, trademark, trade secret, patent, or any other proprietary right of any person or entity, contain any viruses, Trojan horses, files, violate any law or regulation, or violate or be inconsistent with terms of use, the EULA, the rules of conduct, privacy policy. By uploading or otherwise publishing your UGC, you hereby grant to Paradox a non-exclusive, because of course if it was exclusive, no one else could use it or watch it or enjoy it. A non-exclusive, irrevocable, because you can't say no, you can't use it, royalty-free, I can't charge them for using it, sub-licensable, that means they can license another agency, a third party, to use it, perpetual right to use, they can use it forever, reproduce, modify, create derivative works from distribute. That means they will be making derivative works of my genius operation here. Derivative works from this, distribute, transmit, broadcast, and otherwise communicate, publicly display, and publicly perform your UGC, your user-generated content, and derivative works of your UGC in connection with the operation promotion of the game, site, or service. So basically, when you're playing any game, basically, taken for, let's just say that this was a common clause in most game software. What you are actually doing, you are providing content that is for the benefit of the software company, the developers, and the marketing. They can send it to their marketers, and they can create their commercials, their shows, their whatever they communications, and use your content freely and forever, and they can benefit. In other words, basically, they're benefiting from your, as at least in my case, my genius and my marketing savvy and my appeal to the masses, so they can use that for their benefit and not be owing to me at all, not even a thank you. So that's basically what they're saying. A very short, brief, yet concise and truthful wording. Paradox is under no obligation to use, distribute, or continue to distribute user-generated content. You understand that Paradox may restrict or remove your UGC for any reason. That's obviously on their own sites, right? You represent and warrant that the UGC and your grant of rights in such UGC does not violate any applicable contract, law, or regulation, and that the UGC is your original work. So this is basically to cover themselves from being sued, obviously, by someone else who then claims that my broadcast or my content is actually a copy of theirs or a violation of some work agreement or whatever, and that I really had no right to broadcast it, and then therefore they had no right to do it, so we're suing them. This is to protect them. This says that that you grant this rights in such UGC does not violate. So basically, even if they get sued, which they could, they also have a right to sue you. And usually what happens is that the court fixes it up so that you're the only one who gets sued. Because basically you misrepresented and therefore brought them into a situation which they did not seek to get into, and obviously then they'll be off the hook. So that's how they do that. Law or regulation that the UGC is your original work and does not infringe any third party's intellectual property rights or any other rights. Paradox specifically disclaims any liability with regard to user generated content. Basically, what I said, they are not liable in any way. Anyone who believes that their original work has been reproduced as UGC through one of our games, service, or sites in a way that constitutes copyright infringement may notify us by contacting support. Okay, so they're not responsible, but remember before it said that they they can shut your account down if you're using it in an inappropriate or infringing any third party right, copyright, etc., etc. So that's why they want to be informed, because we can exercise our own policing, but we're not responsible for anything, of course. So this is all of this legal mumbo jumbo is just basically saying, hey, listen, we just made the game. The guys who play the game and make content, we own them. We own their content. We use it any way we want. But we're not responsible if they did something they weren't supposed to do. They told us they had the right to do it. And, well, listen, all we can do is shut them down. That's what you wanted to do? So that's what we'll do. Basically, that's what this all is. Mods, I'm not interested. I don't do it. Disclaimer. Limitation liability, indemnification, meaning we see no evil, we heard no evil, we do no evil, you're it, you take responsibility, we're making our new game, leave us alone. That's all that is. Updates to the services, equitable remedy, severability waiver, modification, contacting us, of course. Hey. All right, so again, we click here. This is the mystery area here. You have to go all the way up here. This little words that say click here to return to the game. Of course, I haven't started the game yet. And normally, I wouldn't imagine of clicking there because, again, I haven't started the game. I was just looking at the terms of service and the terms of use. And I just want to get back to the legal disclaimer. But of course, there's no way to get back to the legal disclaimer. It's like kind of covered, I guess, by this window here, these panels. And then you really can't get into this. And so it becomes like the only thing that you can. Let me just check on that. No, you have these other links. So again, you can click away and not actually finish with this legal disclaimer, and that's inappropriate. So I don't see why the legal disclaimer, it could be a bug, maybe with Steam, I'm not sure, or with the game, I'm not sure of that either. But the legal disclaimer is now inaccessible. If I come out of that other window, I should be able to get to the legal disclaimer and continue my progress. It doesn't allow you to do that. It's hidden, and I have to counterintuitively, which means going against reasoned thinking. I have to go and click to return to the game. And when you do that, voila, it's part of the game, I guess, the disclaimer. So yes, maybe people who study software and game user interfaces, maybe this is normal. This is maybe a standard, like URLs being underlined and in a different color, maybe. But I'm sure people will spend a good half an hour trying to figure it out. And so we can agree to all that. All right, so here we go. Campus is a new city server, unique building, public library, bus line customization. So they have other things. They have things to download. I'm sure these are just the new. These are things I saw. These are DLCs, downloadable content that I saw that gives you more things to build. Eiffel Towers. Well, I think the Eiffel Tower's in here. Concert management, mass transit. Okay, these are things that I'm not going to get now. I don't envision getting them because, again, I'm going to be talking about real estate and developing real estate. That's what I'm talking about while I'm doing this game. So I don't need those things to talk about them. To talk about that, I just need the basic game and to talk about things about building up, developing land, since this is what this is about, and also some ideas that we have on future development of cities in the future. We're also going to talk about survivability, surviving in the big cities as opposed to the small towns. We're going to talk about that during our gaming experiences here. And we're going to be talking about making money in real estate, how to make money in real estate, why cities grow the way they are. I'm also going to teach you about the how cities developed historically, okay, from the beginning. We're going to touch on the Bible just a little bit. A lot of you believe in the Bible, but even if you don't believe in the Bible, just think of it as cavemen. We're going to talk about cavemen. So we're going to go back in time, evolution. We're going to talk about cavemen or Adam and Eve, whichever way you want it. And we're going to talk about how did we get from living in caves and into building cities. And important things that you have to consider, dangerous things, as a matter of fact, that actually you've exposed humanity to yourself, your own family. If you live in a big city, you're exposed to certain dangers, and we're going to talk about that also and during our gameplays together. It won't be today, but today all I'm doing is installing the game and talking about what shows we're going to develop from this gameplay. But the fact is that a lot of you guys are in danger and you're ill prepared. And it's very real possibility that things are going to happen in the near future, anytime, could have happened any time, has happened, but not to a big degree in during our human civilized the main civilization development or recent. But it can happen at any time to a great degree, disrupting everything. And the issue is, are you prepared? And living in a big city is not too conducive to being able to survive if something should happen of that magnitude. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And you'll see it as we develop the cities. You start to understand certain things that you really need to concern yourselves with right now, and you need to prepare yourselves. Okay, these are serious matters. So there's quite a few things I'm going to be talking about while we are in gameplay. So that's what that those things should be interesting. So we have the new game here that we can start. So basically, I want to get that started with you that you can see. These are Steam workshops, which we will look into. I'm going to do some reading before I start another broadcast and a game. But that's what we're going to do there. All right. So that's City Skylines. The other two games, I don't have it yet. Let me go to exit game right now. Okay, so we have that. We have a few updates pending here that we need to get into. So, and then I wanted to look at our wish list so you can see what we're waiting for still. The wish list that I've developed based on certain things that we're working on for broadcasting, for shows, for content. So user generated content. And some of them are for other people to play. Not so I won't be playing them, but others will be the recommendations I'm going to be making after I try them out and see their suitability. And we'll be having other people in our network play them. So that's why they're here in the way they are. These are not my personal, like I told you, I'm not a game player. Okay, so we're waiting for the Car Trader Simulator. That is what we're waiting for now. And the train, let's see if that's here. It isn't here, but by going to the Car Trader page, we'll have that. Let me see if they got a video here. Yeah, so let me play the video for you. All right, so that's what's coming up. We're still waiting. We have the beta keys have been given to us, so we're waiting to get the access to the game. So you'll be seeing that right off the bat. So that should be any day now, later tonight or tomorrow, or whatnot. So we'll be getting that going. Here, I believe was the other one, the train. It's right here, train station renovation. So this is what we'll play again now for you to see that. So we're gonna get to drive the train, isn't that great? Okay, so that's also the other one that's coming up again. That's going to be released on beta any moment. So we'll be bringing that to you. Okay, let me give you some updates on SpacePerium. SpacePerium is getting ready to release its coin called the SpacePerium coin. That coin is a crypto coin. The crypto coin is not going to be made public, at least while I'm alive. I didn't plan it to be a public coin offer or anything like that. Some of you may know, SpacePerium is a hybrid real life video game. Okay. Those of you who are aware of LARPing, the first development of the first gameplay will be video, or what you'll see here on Twitch, but also there will be a LARPing experience, quite elaborate, I must add. It's going to be a LARPing experience like none other. There's nothing else like this. So you guys know anyone who's in LARPing, who likes to LARP, this is something they really need to look at. So SpacePerium is going to have that, and it's going to be really special. Plus the fact that we have a real crypto coin, but it is part of the game. It's going to be in-game money. It's going to be real-world money. It's going to be easily transferred into real-world fiat, or at least make purchases, real-world assets using the SpacePerium coinage. So that's what's going to be happening, and that's what we're developing. So the game is really taking on a very nice developmental parameter, I would say, and we're still looking and developing other things with that. One of those things is that in SpacePerium we've developed a part of the game that has what we call artifacts, game artifacts, and the possession of these game artifacts are ways of gaining prestige or bonuses for the players and for ships, the ship captains or the generals or the admirals. Again, we're talking about zonal, citadels, and the statal ships, statewide ships, and having these assets or having these artifacts, or having a member of the ship with these one of the artifacts gives you a lot of prestige and whatnot, a lot of benefits. Otherwise, these artifacts actually are being sold. It's out in the open market, actually. In the game, it's like the black market. It wasn't supposed to be lost or taken, and let alone be sold off in public auctions and in other marketplaces, but they were. And this is the storyline. This is what's happening in the story. And so, whereas players start coming in to play SpacePerium to be part of these ships that we have, um, as the gameplay ensues and as they progress in the game, there's going to be times and moments, certain phases or transitions, where they will be needing certain artifacts, certain codes that are found on particular artifacts. Well, of course, where are the artifacts? The artifacts were sold on the black market. In other words, they have to be found. And in the game, and the players will be instructed how to find these artifacts. And again, we're talking about real life here. So this is not in a game. This is in the real world. So you will have to seek out these artifacts in the real world and retrieve codes. from these artifacts. Now, in many cases, the artifacts will be in have someone possessing them. These people may are not going to be necessarily game players. I'm talking about real life now, so don't confuse. I know the space period is going to wipe some people out because it's going to confuse you between what is real and what is game, right? Because we're melding the two together. So this is going to be like real life, and yet you will be in the game still, and or develop game points just with real life itself, and then sometimes real life will be part of playing the game. So yeah, so in real life, on real platforms, on real marketplaces, these these artifacts are being sold, or and they're on a regular schedule. So I can report. This is almost like one of the Space Period news report. There is knowledge that the Spaceperium artifacts are being sold right now. Again, they're being sold in 2019, 2020, and they're from the future. They're artifacts that were in the future. They were coded in the future, but they were sent back in time, different time before this time, before 2019, right now, and in the following kind of subsequent years. These artifacts will find their way into marketplaces. So there's two things that our users right now need to be looking for. They need to be looking for Spaceperium. You need to be looking for Spaceperium. And once you get into the Spaceperium game, you will get a manual. And in the manual, it will tell you certain artifacts, their names. They may have numbers, some code, and you will be able to, if either option happens, there's one or two things that may happen when you're searching. You'll search online, you'll search on marketplaces, like eBay and others, classiforium.com, the real but robust classified site like that, even on Craigslist possibly. You'll find you need to search looking for these artifacts, because either the person who stole these artifacts or found them will be selling the artifact itself on these platforms someplace, or they would have known or understood the value of the code. They would know that there's codes on them, and they would know that someone would need a code, or from time to time, a code here, a code there. And so what they would be offering is the codes, and they would sell it because, of course, it cost them money to get the artifact. So this again, like I said, it's on the black market. It found its way onto these public platforms, marketplaces, and they purchased them. I'm sure they purchased them for a lot of money. So they go, so you'll have to, see what they're offering. If they have the code you're looking for, if our users will be needing, then they will transact that business at that time. Now, to gain the artifact, also the same thing. Somebody may be selling the artifact. It could be first hand from whoever it was that took it or found it, and also later on down the road, it could be from one of these buyers who, for whatever reason, um, don't want to deal with all the orders coming in, or whatnot, and you just would want to just have someone else take on the responsibility of providing these codes to Spaceperium users. So you'll find one of those two scenarios, um, or three. I did mention three of them. Someplace online, you have to use your methods of finding marketplaces where people would be normally offering something they have for sale. So it could be one of those things. The artifacts are different things. They could be framed, some plaque, or there's even tiles. There was a facility with a tunnel. It happens that was the tunnel had tiles along the walls, on the side of the walls, up on top, and so it happens that some tiles were put the codes, certain codes. And again, those are the only codes available and needed, required actually, for a certain advancement within Space Parent game. So you actually have to, and this will include the future video game. You'll have to just go out of the video game to secure these codes, whatever is required, and to then input that code into your game, talking about the future video game. And before that, you will need to present it and to gain access to certain content or information, and to get a certain ranking or a grade upgrade or whatever that the code is related to. And so yeah, that's one of the developments that we have had in Spaceperium, and just letting you guys know how things are developing. So we have the cryptocurrency, and then we have the the these artifacts with the history of the problem that occurred with they were taken and then brought back into time. Some people say it was a mistake, it was an error in the lab. Somehow these artifacts got transported through time. And so now we have a big issue, a big problem. So Spaceperium players now have to go around when they're asked for certain codes, and they have to really just do some homework and find either the code or the artifact, depending on what they want to do. Personally, I think gaining the artifact is the main objective, but it's not going to be cheap. That's not going to be cheap. It's the reason why I suggest that everyone that's planning to play Spaceperium, or those of you that are smart enough to be watching this tubby guy here, like somebody said, the troll there, you need to be listening and looking actively for when the finders or the stealers actually put up the artifacts for sale. Because if you can be the owner of the artifact, it's not going to cost you as much if you're the second owner and the third owner, for example. But that's like the best thing, because not only are you getting it at the cheapest price that it's going to be ever, you will be also gaining a great benefit for your ranking in the game in totality. And you give your shipmates and your ship, that's the team that you're in, a great boost in prestige and great more bonuses because one of their team members has an artifact. Like the artifact, to have the artifact is really good for your ship. It really helps in tremendous ways. So we're just letting that little news leak out there. It's a leak. So that you guys can be watching out for that. The Spaceperium. And we'll be covering more news about that later on. That's coming about maybe a month or two, three. You really need to start looking into the marketplaces. But before that, you look at any of our videos on Spaceperium. I don't know if there's anything left on Twitch. They usually take the old videos out after a certain time. I've been not broadcasting for 3 weeks because of the passing of my father, so I actually did not broadcast for 3 weeks. So I don't know if any of any of that old stuff is there. You can try out my CBH, my global my CBH network on YouTube, because PlayPayBox, I don't have any of this new stuff on it. And this is the newest one that I'm doing now. That this will appear on there. But all the other older Spaceperium broadcasts were on my global my CBH network. So you want to look for global my CBH or my global my CBH network, one of those two. And then look at those old videos. I call them old. There's only a few weeks old, right? But I do talk about the Spaceperium project, and so that you can get more of that information as we have been developing it. All right, and so that should be it. So it's quite exciting. Our game development Spaceperium, how that's coming along, and soon the LARPing is going to get started soon. This is going to be really exciting. I'm excited. I can't wait because we have such a great LARPing game format. It's gonna be tremendous. I mean, we're really gonna hit the newspapers. When we get started with this, it's gonna be fantastic. I will tell you right now. But this other issue with the artifacts, this is a really good thing, and it's a great money maker. If you have the artifact, you'll be making money. I will tell you right now, it is really just a great thing to have. So that's why I'm saying to look for that. Don't just sit around. Oh, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna play a game. Try to get these artifacts, because the artifacts. Remember, all the players will need to get the codes, and you guys will get a few dollars for each of the codes forever. I mean, it starts adding up. We got, I think I had done an estimate. Again, I'll do these things on video, of over, what was that, like 1.5 million. I think so. I just have to check the numbers again. It may be 14 million or a million, something like that. But in any case, I know it's definitely 1.5 million users are expected in the U.S. alone. Okay, and just with one code, and you can figure this. If everybody needed to get that one code from you, you had the artifact. You're talking about $5, up to $5 for each code. You do the math. So we're not talking about game here. You know, we are talking about the game, but we're talking about real money that they will have to dish out to you for you to, if you own the artifact, for you to give them the code. So basically, that's the thing about having the artifact and owning the artifacts, that it's a perpetual money maker. Actually, it's a great asset to have, and it's a great investment because the codes are needed. They can't get what they want unless they get the code, and the code is only on the artifact. And who wears the artifact? They have to first find it, and the owner of the artifact knows what's up. So they know they brought the artifact knowing, hey, you're gonna have all these people needing that code. So that code, you can get a few dollars, $5 max. We don't want them to be too expensive for the player. And the artifacts are not required for most of the gameplay. It's just at certain points, and especially when you want to rank up and go up. So then, yeah. So, but you have 1 million people needing to rank up, needing to get to the next level. That is beautiful. That's really nice. So yeah, and I'm telling you guys this so that you guys that are in the game industry, or the game, your users are going to be playing this game with us. so that you can have major advantage and get the benefit of owning the artifact itself. Okay, it's not just one artifact. There's a great many of them. But again, if you're worried about, oh, well, then if I'm playing a game, how much is it going to cost me? You're not going to need all of them all at all times. You're just going to need, as you progress, at from time to time, you'll have a need to get a code, and that code will be part of the storyline, and it's going to be on an artifact. So that has to be, found, and then you can make your progress in that. And the way to look at that, if you're in the gaming scene, it's basically like DLC. It's just almost the same type of thing as downloadable content. And, you'll always have to pay something to get downloadable content and something like that. But this is different because it's not content you need to download, it's content you need to find. So it's almost like a treasure hunt. And I thought it a very nice thing, nice little thingy to put into a Spaceperium. So that's what we're going to real life treasure hunting. And the storyline, how it goes, is that the artifacts were sold different times in history or left certain places in history. Someone found it, so it ended up on eBay one day, or on Craigslist, or on Classiforum.com. Someone sold it to somebody, and so that somebody then received instruction, received information. Wait a minute, what you have here is a really important artifact that people will be looking for, and and they'll need these codes, so they're looking for the artifact, but they don't have it. You have it now, so at least know that there'll be requests. You need to put the fact that you have these codes from this type of artifact on Classiforum.com. We're recommending them to do that, but they can also put it on Craigslist. They can post it on eBay or what have you. And then you guys need to find it, track it down, and get the code, and keep progressing in the game. So that's the thing that has to happen, and we hoping that that creates a little bit of excitement there. And there's artifacts that will be discoverable, I'm sure, throughout the game. So it's not like all of it's being sold out in the black market or anything. Some of them are hidden. They haven't been discovered yet. And so it may happen. It may happen that when you guys are at your LARP, by the way, the LARP is live action role play. So when you guys actually go out to a LARPing event, an artifact may be found. You just never know. Because again, when you guys are at any event, it could even be at the meetings when you guys meet together as a team. Um, there's what do you call it, connectivity with the AI, with Spaceperium. So you guys are meeting together. There's a tablet there. There's Wi-Fi happening, and it's connecting to the game servers, because you're still part of the game. So even though you're meeting in real life, having coffee at a panera, or what have you, at a McDonald's, eating some hamburgers or fries, you're still in the game. And it could be that McDonald's or that Panera or wherever you go, there may be an artifact. It can happen. So again, when the connectivity is done, you'll have your mission for that meeting, and when that's going on, blah blah blah. So you never know. This thing is weird how these things pop up from time to time. But if someone can find an artifact, you become an artifact owner. That's good. Because that wouldn't cost you a thing. That wouldn't cost you anything. It's just that you are at the right place at the right time. So this is exciting. I'm really excited about Spaceperium. You don't believe the things that we have planned for this Spaceperium game experience. It's just going to be just a wonderful, exciting experience. I'm excited. I don't play games like that. I play chess and I play these games. You want World of what is that? The World of Warships. I used to play a lot the World of Tanks. But they changed the artillery. So yeah, I was the guy who always blew you up. How did he find me? It was me. I found you. But when they started screwing around with the stuff, I said, okay, I'm not going to get in that. Now I'll do the battleship. I'm sinking your ass when you're there. Okay. So anyway, that'll be it for today. So in the future programs, as we get more back into the swing of things, I'm going to be. We got a lot of stuff. We're working on a lot of things here. So, again, if anyone's interested in becoming a major role, a player in this game, you really need to be a game master. As a game master, you will own a ship. You will be the captain of your own ship, and right now that's the only way to be a captain of your own ship is to be the game master, and we really suggest that you do that. It's not easy to be the game master, and it does cost you to be one, but it's the most rewarding outside of owning the an artifact word. The only thing better than being a game master in Spaceperium is actually being having ownership of an artifact. That's really good because of the numbers that we're talking about. But outside of that, game master is the thing to be. So you need, and it's limited. There's only one per area, so you need to look into that as soon as you can. Okay, so that's it. I know a lot of people don't watch this, but they see this cross and skull bone. No, the sheep over here. They think, oh, this guy's talking Bible again. It's a religious guy. I don't want to hear nothing. Some people close their eyes and their minds, and they close their access just because of their attitudes or preconceptions. And it's really silly. They're going to miss all of this. This is a limited scope, it's a limited ability to get involved in this game. It's only 100 at the local level. That's it. No more players can play. So it's an issue. Did you hear about it? Did you know about it? And is there still room? And that's basically what's going to be happening most gamers out there, people who would have enjoyed playing and being part of this Space Parent game, but they're going to miss out because of the way they think. It's sad the way people think. But anyway, good for tonight. Testing everything after my hiatus. Pretty much everything's good. It's just a matter of me getting back acclimated to all things here. So take care. Thanks for watching. I'll play the Game Master thing so that you guys can see the URL, so you can go and watch that video that explains how to be a Game Master with our game. So look into it and join us.